Morning, Amber. Worms on the hill. It's Thursday. I have funeral flowers to do. So a local fellow passed away in Yanar South, which is not far from here, and the Budgery Hall committee is doing the wake, which is at the Yanar Hall. So that's about 15 minutes north of me. I'm not doing the casket flowers or anything, but I've been asked to do a big vase arrangement for the entrance of the hall and 4 sort of smaller table arrangements because they're going to have trestle tables with food and that kind of thing. So that all has to be down there in the morning, fairly early tomorrow, and the people will be arriving at about 11:30. So I've got flowers arriving today from the wholesaler this morning, and I've got some stuff in the garden now, quite a few daffodils. But we're going with the request was sunflowers, so I can get those from the wholesaler. Obviously, there's none of those around at the moment, but it is for a gentleman, the funeral, so we're going slightly more masculine, definitely, with the colours, sunflowers, and so yellows, oranges, sort of rust colours, that kind of thing. I'm going to put a little bit of white in there just to make it pop a bit. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just about to milk my cow. My beautiful Jersey cow, Roxy, unfortunately we lost her. She was quite old, actually. We sort of never really know the ages of these things. So we lost Roxy. I was very sad. But I do have a new milking cow now because I had a cow that lost her calf. It happens. So Nina, I'll introduce you to Nina. She's giving me so much milk, it's not funny. So if you're curious about the breaking in of the cows for the milking, this is our good crush. And for the first couple of weeks I was putting her in here. It probably only took 4 days. So just milking her in the morning until she got used to coming in. She's a really quiet cow anyway, so that's that made it a little bit easier. But of course it's the grain that she's coming in for. She's very excited about that. She's standing there waiting, looking at me now. She moves at me in the morning. And so now I'm getting her into, it's an old crush. It's not great, but it's good for quiet cows and it's under shelter, so I can milk her under there. But it doesn't really take that long, but you obviously need a really good quiet cow to start with. But they get used to the routine, and now she just sort of walks in and knows where she's going. So and the bull's looking at me too. I'm not getting you in, mate. He's sad. He's got floppy ears. He's really funny. Had a fair bit of rain lately. It's very wet and muddy, but this is Nina. She looks like all the others. She's black. Oh, don't be sad. You just want your grain. So that's quite a lot. It's a lot. Normally I guess you get a little bit more than that. I sort of get up almost to the top. So I usually get about 9 litres. That's probably a little bit less, but she's very happy. She's just finishing off her grain, and then she'll think about coming out. My son thought of the name. Usually I name the cows, but he came up with Nina, but my husband calls her Moo Moo Face, so I don't know. I don't know if you like Moo Moo Face, do you? Yeah, back out. All right, so there she is, back in her paddock with Missy Moo and the bull. Our cows have been brought back over this way, and we stopped feeding them grain in the last couple of days, and then now they've got enough grass up there to eat, so she's so happy she's running down. Oh, look at her. She's joyful. That's really funny. We're getting a little bit of growth now, so it's spring, tiny little bit of warmth. It's not warm today, but we're getting there. It's good. Less jobs to do. Okay, I've dealt with all that milk. Just going to heat up some leftover casserole for breakfast, but here's what I've got so far. Like, I picked some lovely gum. This is actually dead sedum, but I quite like that. And I've got some sweet pea foliage. There's a bit of daffodil. I've got some stock. This is all from the garden. So I have some stuff blooming, and there's a couple of little anemones in there. These are daffodils that I've picked. And try to pick them while they're closed, so in that gooseneck stage, because the slugs and snails are having a party with them, but they are opening up. And this stuff here is all stuff that arrived on Tuesday from the wholesalers, so that went down to the bakery, so wrong colours for what I'm doing. Here's my big box that's arrived from Melbourne and Suburb Wholesale Florists, so I'll open that up in a minute. And this is some other bits that I've picked. So here's some, this is a very young gum tree sapling that's just sprouted that we don't really want. It's in the way. So I've cut that. That's really pretty. This is Photinia. So that's the blossom, but I like, these are the buds. And it's that rust colour I want. And here's, I think it's prunus or whatever it is. Anyway, blossom. So a little bit of, I don't really want pink so much, but I think that'd be okay, but I want that rust colour. So that's sort of more for the big vases arrangements, I suppose, but yeah, I've still got the little 4 ones. I had to buy some vases. I've got to get the labels off. I was going to do that the other day, but then I didn't get around to it. So I have to get those labels off. But they were about $11.50 each or something from a, you know, one of those cheapy sort of shops. So they'll be handy to have, you know, for other events. You really need a good collection of vases, which is what I've got going on up here. Okay, ignoring the general messiness as my washing basket, general messiness of my laundry, and I'm gonna open up these flowers now and I'll show you what I've got. Hang on a sec. Okay, so all the flowers come in a box, as I showed you. They're not in water, and they actually were packed yesterday morning, and they do okay. They don't sort of come all dead. Yay. I have so many of these big boxes now. I've been using them to make garden beds, but this is what I've got. So the request was sunflowers. So I got 2 bunches of these, which they are 1, 2, 3. It's generally 5. I think I've got 6 in this bunch. So those. Now I'll cut before I put. Look how long the stems are. I'll cut the stems before I put them in water. So I've got 2 bunches of those. These are lovely. Orangey, reddy, sort of coloured roses. They're nice. I've got 4 roses. So, oh, these are lovely. A bunch of yellow roses. I think these might be the dearer ones. I'm not sure because these are very, they're really plump. They're nice. Oh, because I've got a wedding coming up next September too. So if I can get roses that look like that, I've actually got a bit of a scent. That's unusual. I bought stuff off them, not got a scent. I got some white Canterbury bells, just as a pop. And amongst all of that, I've got wax flower. This is, I love this, is great. And it comes in pink too. Just like that in water for the moment. I got, this is the matriarcha, I don't know, something. That stuff. I had white of that turn up earlier this week, but there's a yellow one. I don't think I asked for a yellow one, but anyway, there's a yellow one. There's that. I got some Bells of Ireland. So I had some of this come earlier this week, but I thought this would be pretty cool in the range. Probably didn't need to order anymore, but what I don't use today for this funeral, I will use for down the bakery. So, and any bouquet orders I get. Which I actually had 2 of those this week, which was good. I've got some nice peach ranunculus. And there's the other bunch of sunflowers in there, and then a rust chrysanthemum. So that's everything. Okie doke. So I'm going to do large arrangement in one of these ones. I think I got it for like $7. They're like the candle holding type vase. I don't know what they call them, but they're really good shape because of this lip at the top. It makes everything splay out and sort of create a bigger arrangement. So they're really good. I've just put half water in for the moment, and they've got to be taken down tomorrow to the hall, so just shifting things with less water in it, so they'll get topped up when they get down to the hall. Given these a clean and taken stickers off and stuff, so I'll do the 4 of those next, and I'll do them all at the same time so I can get them all looking pretty similar. So what I'm going to do is obviously the roses are my focal flower, and the sunflowers. So these are lovely, as I just showed you before. I didn't know I could get them like this, so this is good because I've got this wedding coming up this month. So they're an Australian one. They're Endless Summer Orange, and the classic is the bloom type. So I know now to order these ones for weddings. Not that the other ones aren't lovely as well. So my focal flower will be the roses and also the sunflowers. So I know, I apologise, it's pretty dark in here, the light's that way. Probably should be on the other side. We might even do that. Hang on. That makes it much better. You can see my face because the window is over there, and I had to get the light on. It's pretty gloomy today. So I'm going to start with foliage, creating base. And so I won't start with this lighter stuff over here where I've got some bits of gum and the sweet pea that's sort of like a bit of a curly, kind of a viney thing that'll come out the sides. I think I will start with my Photinia and create a bit more of a base, like a structure, I suppose. So there's no rhyme or reason to any of this. I've got some smaller, that's a bit with flowers in it, that might be good. Just plonk and work from there. So it's nice when it crosses over at the bottom. It gives you something to lean other plants on, other bits and pieces. These woody stems, it's helpful to cut up the stem so that they can drink up more water. They've only got to last till tomorrow, so, but you know, they've been doing well so far. So tucking that in, and then I'm going to use this, I don't know what kind of a gum this is, but it's just a really young sapling. It's actually was only about up to my waist. That's the top of it. I just cut the whole top off. I was kind of like, yeah, we don't really need you. But that's really pretty, really young foliage. So we're getting quite a bit of height to it already. I might not even need another piece of that. That might be enough. And I think I will stick in these towards the end. The other thing I've got that's a pokey, sticky, uppy kind of piece of material is this really spiky, it's weed. You see that? It's very, very spiky. The stem's very spiky. It's growing along the side of the road, so I stopped and grabbed 2 pieces of it. And I actually had to break it off with my foot because I couldn't really grab it. But I thought that was really interesting. A sort of really like a bit of a different textural. My background's not great. You probably can't see very well because there's too much going on behind me. There's always too much going on behind me. But that is that. So that's not too bad so far. Now I think I've also got the stock as well. I think I will add my other gum. This is beautiful, if you can see that very well at all. That's the silver dollar gum. I actually grew this from seed at the moment because it's spring. So those lovely fresh bits. They're really pretty. They've got a sort of a slightly pinky, almost burgundy. on the ends there. They're really, really nice. So we'll just tuck a few pieces of that in. And I'm just, like, I've got 3 pieces of this. So once again, I like to work in, I'm so short, I like to work in uneven numbers, because uneven numbers always look more balanced. And I'd strip these stems out in the paddock too when I cut it. So that made it, yeah, that's a nice piece. Look at that, with all that on the top there. I'm trying to make this a little bit more masculine. There's another long bit, and I did cut shorter bits too. Yeah, slightly more masculine arrangements. So that's why I've gone the rust and the orange and the yellow. And of course the sunflowers, well, that was sort of the one flower that was requested. Apparently the man whose funeral I'm doing for his wife, who's also now, she passed away, she used to grow a lot of sunflowers, and then apparently he started doing it after she passed on. So that's why the sunflowers. So we might actually put in, might go with a bit of fill. So this is coming together, like, really, these things come together quickly. Okay, so they're pretty easy. I'll get some of this wax flower. Wax flower is so lovely. It's an Australian native, I'm pretty sure. Yes, it is an Australian native. So there we go. It's lovely. This is really nice wax, this. They were having trouble getting the white. They weren't sure about it, but then they did get it, so I'm pleased. It's got a really nice smell. Kind of a, it's sort of a fresh, I don't know, I've never used it before. I'm actually growing some. I think it's white that I'm growing. So that looks nice tucked in there. It's a nice little fill. I think I might get some of this for that wedding too. A little bit of that, I've thought, because you can get it in pink, which is actually sort of a slightly more purpley pink. This is how I stand up the the stems next to the arrangement and then cut the bottoms off, trying to figure out what height I need to go. Right. Tucking in pieces of that. I might go another little piece on this side over here. I don't know if you can see an awful lot of what I'm doing, but hopefully, otherwise this will be really boring content, won't it? Right. Tuck that one in down there. Okay. Right. It's looking nice. I like that. Actually, it's quite nice like that. But we don't just leave it at that. Right, now I will put in some of this chrysanthemum. It's lovely. And start getting this rust, more of the rust in there. They've got really long stems. Pop that in. That's nice in there. We might pop one more piece. One more piece for the moment. It only comes in, like, you only get 5 stems, so the other 3 should be, oh no, maybe we might just put 1. I do have some leftover chrysanthemum over there in yellow too, so I could use that. So maybe we might just use 1 for the moment. Okay, right, so I also have, we might start putting in some of the other bits. I've got some stock from the garden. Lovely long piece. So this is nice. I don't get many of the actual really frilly with lots of florets, which is really annoying. Most of the stock I've had this season has been this. So not what it should be like at all. I don't know whether that's lack of water, or I do know that you can tell which ones are going to be big frilly doubles and which ones are going to be singles. You check when they first get their first set of leaves. I can't remember whether it's when they're fused or whether when they're not fused together. One means a double and one means a single. I can't remember which one it is. So that's a little bit, but I have very little that look like this. It's really annoying. So that's probably cut a bit too much off that stem. We want that to sort of stick out a bit, but that's going to go in the back there. Might pop a bit of these, I've got the loveliest daffodils. Whoops, one on the ground. I've got these lovely, I can't remember the names of them all, lovely fluffy double ones. That's a lovely one too. That's probably replete, that one. And then I've got things like this. So that's a fun little one as well. You can get to them before the snails do, because they're just having a party out there. That's another different one again. And oh, I've got some of these. These must be white lion opening up. White lion, are they white lion? Is that what they're called? Can't remember. Oh, and here's another different one too. This little fellow here. That's another nice one as well. I love daffs. Yellow is a colour that not many people like, but certainly daffodils in spring, and all these, not just your normal, you know, trumpety yellow ones. These ones are really nice. Just a bit different. Tuck those in and around. I put this one with the, looks like a little egg yolk orange in there. Now I know when you cut your daffodils, then you end up with that toxic sap leaking, and then it can kill your other plants and the other flowers in there. I never have that problem. I don't know. So anyway, I might put you in too while you're out. Just tucking them in. I know, is this interesting to watch? Me doing this? Okay, and then we might whack one over this side. There we go. Alright, this actually, oh no, that's alright. Sort of hard to tell what's going on, isn't there? Okie doke. Now, what are we going to do? There's a couple of anemones in here, but they're fairly short. They've got a bit of a pinky tone on them. They haven't really opened up. I think they're going to get lost in that for the moment. So we might add a bit of the yellow matriarcha, which I think is feverfew. It's looking very feverfewy to me. That's the only thing with this, is it gets quite floppy, like the little flowers. They just sort of flop over a bit, which is sort of, you know, you find the next day that they don't tend to hold up as well. Whether that's just because these have been out of water for, you know, 24 hours and it's a bit much for them. Being a smaller flower, maybe that's it. I don't know. So we're just going to put little tucks of this. That's a short bit. That might go in the other vase arrangements. I'll keep a whole clump together like that and push that down in the centre somewhere. Oh, we might not put that near the chrysanthemum. That's too tall. Pull it out, try again. There we go. There's some extra bits of it. It's really hard to see. There's a little bit in there. There's something going on this side over here. I think this is actually too long. I've lost a daffodil. Oh, there we go. That's better. It's sort of sticking out a little bit too much. You know, the daffodils, the stems are so like flexy and they kind of break a little bit easy. I'm liking the colours together, that's for sure. See how that's sort of fairly floppy? I think I'd want to tuck something up under that side. Whether we put a bit more wax under there so it looks like it's less saggy. Is that the technical term? I think it is. That's better, sort of. All right, so, oh, okay. I think that maybe that, you sort of end up juggling with things, pulling things out, tucking them back in again. The things are really balanced. does all eventually come together. All right, well, I'll keep working on this, and then I'll put you on the high speed, but we're just adding as we go. So now I'll go for actually some Canterbury bells and roses now. Actually, no, I might do the roses now, and the sunflowers. But the Canterbury bells, oh, their pops are white, so there's already white. We're just winging it, as usual. But no, I think it's time to put the roses in now, for sure. So, no, I won't. I'll keep you with me, because we're nearly sort of there, really. So, I'm really loving these. These are nice. They're about the right height, too. We want those to stand up a little bit more. It's funny how you run out of room so quickly. How's that? Yeah, they're nice, aren't they? They're really lovely. Hope there's some left over. I might put them in my house. I reckon we can get maybe 3 of those in there. And there's still those other roses too. So I've certainly got plenty of material. So I've tucked those around so it's sort of even. And we'll go for, still got to get these sunflowers in. I think we might do those because they're really big. So before we run out of space, I might move that daff. I'll take him out, but these need some trimming. Okay, a bit more off. Oh, the stems are so thick. They're funny, the stems. Okay. Get some of those in there. Got so much stuff I want to put in this. I don't know whether I'm going to need the other roses. I will put them in there. Anything with the sunflowers, sometimes they get a bit bendy. That's all right. That will be hidden in amongst all of that. We can tuck that in there. Just hopefully having enough space in the. I need a bit more going on up there. Hopefully there's a. Oh, that's a better sun. He's got a bit of a wonky head. Whoop. Bit of a wonky head going on here, but that'll sit up in the top pretty nicely. So he needs to lose a bit of its height. I can tuck that in. Oh, there we go. Yeah. I'll get you off there and we'll have a look. Actually, it needs to lose a bit more. A little bit tall. I feel like the whole thing's not very stable. Right, and there's still a heap of material I can use. But let's have a look. I think it looks better from where I am from where you are. But there we go. It's coming along. Alright. It still needs a bit of something. I think this bit needs to be shortened. Oh no, that's just come out. It's because I'm fluffing with it. And probably needs, I'll put that daffodil back in. I think it sort of needs a bit of height though. That's actually gone a bit saggy. But it's not bad, but since that's gone saggy, I don't think it really likes being cut, this gum, but we need to put something in there. I'll get onto it and then I'll show you when I've finished. Okay, I ended up pulling out a bit of stuff and then rearranging, and yeah, I think I'll come back to this too. I'll have another look at it, but I put these spiky bits in. I did have a piece of blossom in there on a branchy bit, but I didn't like it, and it was introducing a bit of pale pink that I also didn't quite like. I do like the Canterbury bells in it. It breaks it up a bit. However, I'm pretty happy with that, but I'll just sort of come back to it. Just wondering whether it has enough height. I did have a Bells of Ireland in there. It didn't look right with the purple blossom with this stuff. And I actually removed a fair bit of the Photinia, but I think the Bells of Ireland will probably look a bit better now that it's got a bit more of this fresh green in there. But yeah, we'll revisit him. Okay. Oh, see, right up my nose. Sorry. Okay, I've got these 4 vases, and I'm just going to do. I'll do them all at the same time, kind of like a conveyor belt kind of thing going on. So I'll put you on the high speed, and you can watch me do that. Right, they're coming along. I do like the Canterbury bells. I'm glad I got the white Canterbury bells to sort of break up the orange. The that Matricaria feverfew is being very floppy, so I'm not kind of happy about that, but we'll see how it goes. But there's still lots more to do, but that's what we've got so far. I'll show you when I've finished. Okay, so I've turned over to working with one at a time now, and some of these I'm cutting a bit shorter. I've worked Bells of Ireland in. I've actually got that dried dead sedum in there, which I really like. The sunflowers are hard because they're so bendy and go everywhere, so I've sort of had to readjust a few things to get those to fit well. That's all floppy, that matriarch, how do I ever say it? I think it's feverfew. It's not great, but it's a bit of a green thing in there, so I'll keep pudging away at this one. Still needs a bit, but it's looking heaps better than it was. Getting a bit sort of splayed out. The shorter your vase, and if it's got a big opening, that's harder to do stuff because everything tends to fall outwards. But this is looking a little better for sure. I've got a ranunculus in there too. I didn't put any in the other big one, but we might at the end. Okay, I'm done. I'm actually really happy with how these turned out. I was struggling a bit there for a minute. They've all got the same ingredients in them, and I managed to get this that funny gum, but I've tucked some of that into each of them, and that little bit of dark colour really helps. And they've all got daffodils. I'll go around this side, but I'm happy with those. They're nice and bright and cheerful, but not too girly. There's no really pink in them or anything like that. So happy. There's a little bit of material left that was bought in, some daffs. I always feel like I'm buying in too much material, and I'm worried I'm just going to, like I'm overspending, but you do end up using a lot. So there's some left, which I can pudge out that other vase, which I have put into the schoolroom. Ignore the mess. Put that in here. It's hard to see it without the light, but there's material left. But I think that's all right. But I'll have a look at it again a bit later on. Anyway, that's that. I'm happy with those. They came together in the end. You sort of feel like you're getting nowhere, and then suddenly it all pulls together. So I'm really pleased. I like the dead sedum in there, like the dried brown in there, and the little bit of burgundy sort of brings that all together. I do like these, whatever they are, horrible spiky things that were by the side of the road. Keep your eyes open when you're driving around. You can find some really cool stuff. I don't know if this needs a Bells of Ireland, the big arrangement. It's sort of, I don't know, an extra big spiky thing kind of looked a bit weird. And I've got the trailing bits of sweet pea foliage that, really does that sort of spiky and flowy part. I've been using that sweet pea foliage for ages now. It's so good. I probably use it more than I would the flowers, to be honest. And when I do have it, I use a piece of the foliage with a flower on it, and mostly just in bridal bouquets. But yeah, hopefully those flowers will come soon. But Anyway, there's a bit in here from my garden, such as the stock and the daffodils, and a little couple of anemones. Actually, there's one in each one of these arrangements, and there's a poppy here and there too. So the daffodils sort of started opening up just in time, which was good as well. So not a lot left. As I said before, there's not much there, which is kind of good. It still cost me, well, because they had to deliver it as well. So that's sort of $22 for delivery. And they do charge me $5 something for the box as well. But so $170 worth of flowers. It's sort of not really a lot. They are dear to buy in. But then you've got to think about the flower farmer. You know, they want to be selling to the wholesaler and making a decent amount on their flowers too. So I can't begrudge them that. But there we go. It's done. So I hope it was useful. Learned something. Maybe not. Anyway, so these will get delivered tomorrow. Now they can just sit here, and I'll top them up with water when I get them to the hall. I'll show you, if I remember, hopefully, I'll show you tomorrow when they're set up. Okay, I'm at the hall in Yunar, and so I've got table arrangements set up. Happy with how they look, happy with how they travelled, thankfully. That's the worst part, is trying to get things to go in boxes and then to not fall over in the car. It's very windy where we live on the hills, and lots of potholes and stuff, so got to bring it pretty carefully. So everything's looking really nice, so I'm quite pleased. So this is the front of the hall. So here is, well, I can't really see very well in the light, but there's this one. So I think this is where it needs to sit. There we go. Anyway, thanks for coming along. I hope it was helpful, useful, and I'm all jazzed up because I've got a graduation to go to, because I did a business course. I had a business scholarship thing, so that's finished, and I've got to go do that after this. So I'm going to go help with the food, and I'll catch up with you later. See ya.